Hi, how are you? My name is Rick Suarez. I created the Nutty Real Estate Professor, and in this lesson, I am going to go over calculating property taxes. And the first one we're going to look at is going to be under 50,000. Then I'm going to show you between 50 and 75. And then finally, after $75,001, how do you do that math? So let's start with the very first one. The property assessment on this first property is $45,000, which is under 50, which also means they only get one homestead exemption. So let's look at the mills. First, we have the city, which is 9, the county is 8, and the school is 7, totaling 24 mills. And of course, mills is 1/1000 of a dollar, and you have to move the decimal 3 spots. This is why, boom, 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 you end up with 0.024. So all we have to do is multiply 45,000, and we're going to multiply that times 0.024, and we're going to get 1,080 as the total taxes. Right, so that is the first part of our math problem. The next part of our math problem is we're going to multiply 25,000. We're going to multiply times 0.024. And that total is going to be $600, which that is the savings. That is what kind of savings you get when it's a homestead property. Without being homesteaded, you cannot get this kind of savings. Once you subtract, you end up with $480, and this becomes your tax levy, okay? Your tax levy. Now, there's something you need to know. You got to read that question extremely careful, because there's 3 questions they can ask you. One question could be, what is the total taxes of the property? Well, the answer is 1,080. The next question could be, what is the total savings? Well, that answer is $600. And then the third question they could ask you is, what is the total tax levy of a 45,000 assessed value after we put in the mills? So then that's 480. And this is going to show like this on your test for sure. I mean, I don't know which letter they're going to pick, but it's going to show it like this. Like this, just like this, and then there'll be like an off-the-wall number. And then if you answer the question, you may have the math correctly, but you may answer the question incorrectly, and then you'll get it wrong. So be careful. Really take your time, 3 hours or 3.5 hours, I should say, taking the state test. It's not that, it's plenty of time. Take your time, especially the math is towards the end, so you should be fine. Let me show this to you clean, and let me explain it to you again. All right, so here it is. So here we have 45,000 times 0.024. There's your 1,080. Those are your total taxes. 25,000 times 0.024 is your 600. This is your basic exemption. That is the total savings they get. Why? Because it's under 50,000. You need 50,000 to get 25,000. But everybody that has anything under 50,000 gets 25,000. So that's all they're allowed to get. Now it makes total sense when it's only $1,000. But once you have a property at 300,000, the savings is not really so much of a big deal. And you'll see it when I show you 75 plus. Now, the total tax levy is going to be 480 once you subtract the 600. And of course, because it's under 50,000, they only get one exception, which is 25,000. And again, I also be careful with the question, because the question could be, they could ask for a gross property tax, which is 1,080. They could ask you for the total savings, so they could ask for the tax liability after deductions. Be careful, because here's where they're going to get you. All right, so I hope you understood that one, and let me go ahead and show you the next one, which is between $50,000 and $75,000. Students have a difficult time understanding the process here, and I hope I'm going to simplify it for you. You'll be able to understand it. First of all, let's find out what is the total. I'm using the same mill, so we don't complicate it any more than we have to. So 65,000 times 0.024. So 65,000 times 0.024 is going to be 1,560. So then we're going to take the first one, right, which is 25,000. Everybody gets one under 50,000 times 0.024, and they get the whole amount, which they gets the city, the county, and the school. And that's going to be, well, it's going to be the same as the one, the math before, so it's going to be $600. But now they get an additional discount. They get an additional credit. They actually get the second exception. But what's the problem? That it's 65,000. So here's the way it goes. The assessed value is 65,000. They had to give up $50,000 in order to get the first 25,000. So this they had to give up. So what's left? 15,000. So all you could do is get 15,000 here. So the second exception only becomes 15,000. Why? Because it's 65,000. You had to give up 50 to get 25. When you give up 50, what's left over? 15. You don't get another 25. It doesn't work like that. So now what else do you don't get? You don't get the school. School's out. School's out completely. So this is going to be times 0.017, and that math is going to be 255. And of course, you subtract that too. When you subtract everything, you finish with a tax levy of 705, right? Because you get 15,000 on the second, and here is what you call the basic. Everybody gets 25,000. That's just the way it was set up. There's no other reason. And then, of course, because there's only 65, you have to subtract 50,000 from 65, giving you only 15,000. Let me show it to you clean so you can understand it better. Here it is right here. Here's the 65,000 times 0.024, and that's going to give you $1,560. This is your total taxes. Now, remember, the question could be, what is the gross taxes? That's your answer. Or the question could be, a property non-homesteaded, what's the taxes? Well, the taxes is $1,560. Why? Because it has to be homesteaded to get the credits. Now, again, you're going to have the three answers. These guys will be sitting in the bottom, A, B, C, and D. They'll be sitting right here waiting for you, or actually, this is wrong. This would be 855. I could have just made that one as one of the wrong ones, and then we'll put 550 here. So what's the answer? Be careful. Be careful. The thing about math, it is whoever puts these math problems together, they know where you're going to make an error. And they know, okay, you were supposed to multiply here, and you went ahead and divide, and they're prepared for you. And they go ahead and provide that answer for you as well. So this way you see it, and you say, well, I got it right. No, you didn't. You got it wrong. You read it wrong, right? Or you did the math wrong, and they're already anticipating that you're going to do that. So math is very tricky. It's also not that hard. It's only multiplications, division, subtraction, and addition. That's all it is. You just have to know how to put it together. All right, so again, here it is again. Here's the 65 minus 50,000. This is all that's left. That's why on the second, you get the 15,000. Here's the first, where it's 600, and the second is 255. Right? Now let's do one that is more realistic of what's going on in our market. Here's an assessed value above 75,000. So an assessed value above 75,000, in my example, I'm going to use 300,000. And again, I'm using the same mills. Why complicate it? So 300,000 times 0.024, and that's going to be a total of 7,200. Now, what is this? This is the total taxes. Again, if your math problem says, what are the taxes on a property that is non-homesteaded with an assessed value of 300,000, and then they go ahead and put the mills, and they put blind, widow, and disabled, and they put all this stuff, you're going to work it all out, and the answer was already done, 7,200. Yeah. Be careful. Be careful. All right, so let's look at the first one. The first one is going to be 25,000 times 0.024. And that again is going to be the same 600. I mean, the math is never going to change there, right? So this is the basic. Now, obviously, when you do the math problem at the school, they're going to change the mill. So I'm not changing it here just to make it easy for everybody, right? Now, I made this person blind, widow, and a disabled vet. I just gave him the worst of the worst, right? This person is blind, can't see, or is legally blind, really. And legally blind could see a little bit, but who wants to be legally blind to begin with? So he's blind, widow, which means husband or wife died. Now, if they remarry, you can no longer deduct that, right? And disabled veteran. Now, disabled veteran, you must be disabled how much? 10%. And you must be disabled where? It had to have happened while you're a veteran, while you're in the military. It couldn't happen outside. Now, what happens if the veteran, right? What happens if the veteran is 20% or 30%? He gets the same credit. And that credit is going to be, you got blind is 500 plus widow is 500 and the veteran is $5,000. Right? So if the veteran is 40% disabled, he still gets $5,000. If he's 80% disabled, he gets $5,000. Now, if the veteran is 100% disabled, he will not pay any taxes. But so could you. If you're 100% disabled, you don't pay taxes either, or the homeowner to be exact. They don't pay any taxes. You're completely exempt, right? So let's add these three. What do we have? We have $6,000. Now, $6,000 sounds great if it was an actual savings, but it's not. It's $6,000 in assessed value. What does that mean? Well, let's multiply it. You get to multiply this times 0.024. So 6,000 times 0.024 is a whopping $144. Right? Now, I'm being dramatic because I think this is a complete disrespect to veterans, right? And actually, I'm including blind and widow. When you do the math directly on 6,000 times 5,000 times 0.24, it's $120. So this person goes to war for us, loses an arm, loses a leg. He's considered 40% disabled, but we're going to take care of you. You don't have to pay. We're going to give you, and this is the way they sell it, right? We're going to give you $5,000 credit on your taxes. The reality is, it's not $5,000 credit. It's $5,000 in assessed value. And then when you multiply that times 0.24 in my example, it's only $120. What's going on? That's completely disrespectful and a disgrace from our government, right? Say the same thing here, you're widow, and the same thing being blind. Why don't you just give him the $500? Why don't you just give him the $5,000? That's the way I would see it, right? But it is what it is. I just want to point it out. And I made this person, I gave them all free, so just so you could see the math and understand what it is you're doing. Now, in this particular math problem, they also qualify for an additional $25,000. However, there's no school, so it's 0.017. And that math problem is going to give you 255. There's no more on the blind widow. You only get it on the first. You do not get it on the second. In other words, you don't get to multiply 6,000 times 14 and get it, just give them a little smidgen more, right? Because it's only going to be like $70 or something. In fact, let's do the math. It would be 6,000 times 0.014, $84. Wow. Wow. Thank you, government. $84 it would have been. No, but we're not even going to give him that. He's only entitled, or she, right? A war veteran is only entitled to the exception on the first one. So when you add it all, actually, you need to subtract it all. You get a total of $6,489, and this becomes the tax levy, right? So now you're starting to see, here you got 600 and a total of $255. So let's say your customer or you or anybody else who was trying to figure this math out, it's not a veteran or blind or widow. You get a whopping $855 credit from our government to pay taxes on your own house. And yes, even if you pay off the mortgage, you will continue to pay the taxes. This is the way it is. Right? Right. Let me show this to you clean so you can understand it better. There it is. Here it is right here. Here's the total 300,000 times 0.024. That is a total of $7,200. Again, read the question very carefully. The question could say at this stage, hey, what is the total taxes on a property that is non-homesteaded with an assessed value of 300,000? Well, that's the answer. You don't need to go any further, but they're going to put everything else. So read the question carefully, right? Carefully. Now, of course, if you multiply the 25,000 times the mills, which is, I put him here so you can see in more details, is 0.024, it's going to be $600 on the basic exemption. Then I went ahead and put blind, widow, and disabled vet, which is 6,000 times 0.024. They got a whopping of $144, right? That's the additional exception. And then, of course, over here, there is no school, because why give you school? You know, we don't deserve that. So 25,000 times 0.17, we get a whopping $255. So then when you subtract everything, the total tax levy is $6,489. So you could be asked the question, what is the total savings? So what is the total savings? The total savings here is 999 is the total savings. So always be careful how you're being asked a question. It is extremely important. If answering the question is very crucial, but answering it correctly is everything, right? If you read the question wrong, and they're going to set everything up for you. In other words, you're going to have this set up completely like this. They're not going to not give you the mills. They're not going to give you this, except they're going to say it's a non-homestead property. So the answer A is already 7,200. Or they could say, hey, what are the total savings? Well, the total saving is 999. Hey, what is the tax levy on this property? And that's 6,489. And of course, they always have, you know, an off-the-wall number that you already know just by looking at it. Ain't going to be it. All right, that's it. I hope you understood, and I made this a lot simpler for you. If you like my content, kindly like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, thank you very much for your time.